Good morning. It is April 21st, 2023, 9 o'clock straight up. I have the time displayed right now so I could play back the video and see how close to 90000 the video actually started. Checking audio here. I have audio. Let's see. So this is Windows Daily number 201. My name is Curious Doug. Some people watching this video just groaned. Oh no. What are we in for today? Looks like I gotta fix well, let's see. I guess I'll show this. See how blurry that guy looks right there? Click on the gear icon. It's quality 144p. Change it to 1080p. And then bring chat up. Josh Kinder says, I am number one. Nick Poverman, I knew my wife was a ghost the moment she walked through the door. My second read. I got it on my second read through before the show started. Hello, Mark Baggett. Martin Haw, good evening from sunny Scotland. And Doug, happy 200th. Yesterday was the 200th episode of Windows Daily. Not the 200th video on my channel, just of the Windows Daily series. And by the way, none of my other prior series made it to 200. Although I haven't actually made this a playlist in Windows Daily. It's just the title of the video. Previously, my record was on Tech Tales, and that got up to number 100. And the Doug that was doing that was talking a good game, like he was going to go on for the next 100, but he just flaked out. Didn't show up. Yeah, what can you do? Can't find good people. Jeff Ryman says, good morning. Oh, I skipped over. Brian's here. Learning how to collect litter wasn't all that hard. I just picked it up as I went along. And just people saying hello to each other and Israel Dennis. I'll be watching after Hexona stream. He's watching a Fortnite live streamer that I did a raid. I sent my viewers to her channel. She got a message on her chat room saying, Grandpa Doug Learns Fortnite has raided your channel with one viewer. I'm sure she must have been excited over that. Selden Ball, morning all at 77 degrees Fahrenheit and sunny here. Predicted to get up into the mid-80s before afternoon is over. I was getting a black window with a spinning wheel for a while. It must have been an advertisement. About half of them have been doing that for the last few days. YouTube problems? Do you think? Lawn Dog, hello. Bobby Warren, hello. Steve Dodd, hello. So, what's up with this Curious Doug? Well, you know what? I started going to my iCloud to bring some pictures in, and I didn't finish that up because I have photos for the curious thing that I'm interested in pursuing today. We did a little bit of it yesterday. Why is this not signing in? All right, gotta click on that arrow. I guess while I'm waiting for that to come up, I'll come over to all of the channel comments that are pending that I haven't replied to yet. All one of them from Tom K. I got it, Doug. Now this is on Windows Daily number 199. He's putting a comment. I got it, Doug. You can drink 200 beers in your half-hour show for your Windows Daily 200. I have no idea if he had already seen the 200th episode, because that was 20 hours ago. So he put that comment in after yesterday's episode was live streamed. Does he know that I had the root beer thing yesterday? Then let's go. Where am I going next? Well, how's that whatchamacallit short video doing? Don't get it there. Oh, that's the short right there. 417 views. Oh, that's climbing. If I look at the dashboard there, well, I can't see on the dashboard isn't going to show me how that one is doing because it only shows the most recent video. So if I go to that shorts video and look at analytics, that would show me how it's doing. Oh, look at that. Got a big hit up yesterday. Yeah, that was yesterday when we looked at it, it was only down here. It was just barely creeping along. And then somehow, maybe it's because some of you went and watched it, I don't know. But somehow, look at that, it got a big bump. And does that show the time? 1:40 p.m. 12:40 p.m. That was my time. So that wasn't as a result of yesterday's live stream, because that should be timed more closely to yesterday's live stream. What happened at 12:40 p.m. that gave that an extra kick? That's interesting. I wonder what's going on. And so far I've earned 2 cents off of that short. I'm not going to tell you how many hours I took to put that together. How am I doing on my photos? Here's the photos. Let's take from there all the way to here. Download that. That comes down as a zip file. Show in folder. Where's the folder? I said show in folder. Why hasn't it shown in me in folder yet? Try it again. Here it comes. And here's that zip file showing today's date. I'll right click on that. Well, I'm going to rename that first. I'm going to call that 2023-04-21. And I'm leaving these in the download folder because eventually I'll clear out the download folder. Extract all, I'll let it extract into a similarly named folder just because. Oh, no, that's not. Wait a minute. Did I just name that wrong? No, it sent me to the other one. This is the one I just downloaded. Right click there, extract all. Going to extract to that folder name. And then it's been kind of weird to find it. You know, it doesn't come right next to that. I have these in name order. Did it show up at the top? It shows in right here. And then iCloud Photos, and then go look at this. So what this has to do is that boot time thing. This is what my BIOS time was showing in yesterday's video. Alexa, convert 364,000 seconds to minutes.
364,000 seconds is 6,067 minutes.
Alexa, convert 3,064 seconds to hours.
3,064 seconds is 51 minutes.
What? I said convert to hours. You just told me minutes. Alexa, convert 364 seconds to hours.
364 seconds is 6 minutes.
I don't think she took that right. I didn't even listen to what okay. Alexa, convert 364,000 seconds to hours.
364,000 seconds is 101 hours.
101 hours. That's what I figured it was. So I do have that link that somebody gave me yesterday, and we're going to go look at that for an explanation about this. But I want to take this issue further. So here I took some pictures of my BIOS screens so that if somebody wanted to go do some research, they could. There's the BIOS version, and then hammer through a few more of the screens that might be relevant. I'm not talking about them now. There's a picture of the motherboard box, and then here's some more BIOS settings showing up, and get through a few more of these. I'm not explaining all of these screens or not talking about them or even why I picked them up, but in case somebody else gets curious and is interested in pursuing this further, I looked at, this is a photo of the actual motherboard inside Big Beast Build. I was looking for a model number of the motherboard on the motherboard, and that's the only thing that I found. I didn't actually find a model number. But here's the label from the box, so that gives more information about the specific motherboard. And then I took some other pictures of parts of the box that provides more information about the motherboard, and I don't know that any of it is relevant for this conversation. But there are some really weird things about the behavior of this motherboard. When I do a cold boot, meaning I shut the computer down and disconnect the power, so and drain the capacitors, plug it back in, it takes minutes for this thing to start up. There's a digital readout on the motherboard that it goes through while starting up, and I don't know what that's about. So now here's the BIOS time from restarting the computer this morning. It was not a cold start. I did a restart. I didn't do a shutdown and then press the power button to turn it on. I did Windows button and then power button and restart. And now it comes up with 499,000 some odd seconds. Alexa, convert 499 seconds to hours.
499 seconds is 8 minutes.
499 seconds. She's not here. She's not listening to me. You never listen to me. Alexa, convert 500,000 seconds to hours.
500,000 seconds is 139 hours.
139 hours. So that's how long my computer took to restart this morning. We got a little time dilation thing going on here, I think. I believe that's the last photo. Yes, that's the last photo in the series. Yeah, let's see. I'll go catch up in chat a little bit. Then we'll go look at that link that somebody gave yesterday about explaining BIOS time and what it is. And I have a little bit of critiquing to do on that. Hello, what up, Brian Londog? Brian, I hope the curious thing is not what I'm thinking. Bobby, did you listen to the song I posted on your Fortnite channel? Actually, I did not go listen to the link that you provided. I know the song pretty well, but I'll go back and check that. I was busy with other things. Speedy C, Chris, on Discord, a raid is when a large number of users or bots join a server at once for disruptive or malicious intents and purposes. Raiding is against our terms of service guidelines. He must do a copy and paste because he doesn't work for Discord, I don't believe. And that was on Twitch, not Discord. Bobby, his thing went off. I'm sorry. I could mute my mic when I'd say the trigger word if I were a nice person. Jeff explains this 101 hours or 4.2 days from Brian. Doug, I believe it's relearning the memory settings and other things. And sometimes because you start all over, it does take time. I think relearning is the key word they use to describe this. And I believe it's because it's a gaming motherboard. If you look at the things that are on the box, those photos that I took, it's really designed focused on the best gaming experience, not the best boot time experience. And I think it does go through retraining. When you look at the messages on that LED screen that's inside there, and it's right next to that, you can see that fan on the left side. Can I point to that in a way that you would see it? No, I can't really right now because that's the camera. So, yeah, I can. That fan right there, this display that I'm talking about is right down here in that black space between my finger and that RGB, whatever that RGB is up there. It's just a reflection of the fan on a component of the motherboard. Yeah, I'm sure that you're right. Buns of Wisdom, hello to you. That's the first time I recognize that, seeing that name or recall it. Hey, everyone. Finally decided to fight my shyness and chat here. I enjoy the stuff Doug does. Thank you so much. Well, that implies you've been around for a while. And it gives me a little nice emoji there. Buns of Wisdom. I'll tell you what, Buns of Wisdom, we'd like to see you talking some more. And man, that's just a really kind comment. Sounds like you've been here for a while. I'm going to go ahead and turn you blue. That's a little bit risky for me because I don't know if you're, I don't really know you very well yet. Add as moderator. So you're blue as a standard moderator, not a managing moderator. And welcome, Buns of Wisdom. Let's see, what else we got? Is that the beast you have the BIOS time issue with? Yes, that is the big beast build. That's the big motherboard. You aren't saying thousands for, oh, was I not pronouncing the word thousands? Really? Oh, boy, I was sure that I was. 3,600 seconds per hour is, yeah, whatever. Math. Once Alexa comes, why do we need to learn math anymore? I don't know. How many seconds per fortnight? I got that. Chris Garrett, yes, copy and paste, best way for me to explain it. Yeah, you copied off of their website or something. That's fine. In freshman chemistry, we were asked to give the speed of light in furlongs per fortnight. Oh, wow. Chris Garrett, yes, copy and paste, best way to explain it. It's also an old IRC chat thing. Lawn Dog, Doug, it's also possible that during this retraining that the BIOS is also testing other settings in combination of settings to have them ready for things like optimal settings for certain functions. But do you believe that it was actually taking 101 hours to do that? And that's actually, this is referring to, yeah, this is referring to all the messages and how long it takes to do a cold boot. That wasn't referring to the BIOS boot time. Danielle Emberley, does that ASUS board have ASUS Armory Crate installed? Well, Crate installed, that would be installed on Windows, not on the motherboard, wouldn't it? AppWiz CPL. Does that ASUS motherboard has ASUS Armory Crate? ASUS, there's nothing in here called ASUS Armory Crate, although that name sounds familiar to me. And as far as what, if it's something actually built into the motherboard, then I imagine the pictures that I showed of the box will answer that. So it's going to take time to create all these combinations of things and make a comparison for which is best. Yeah, I've been lurking, but yeah, I will be active. Great. Glad to know that, Buns of Wisdom. But when I called you Buns, I thought, really? Do you want to be called Buns? B-O-W? Bow? Bow? Nah. All right. Bunzo, thanks for the role. I appreciate it a lot. You have a channel, Doug. Bobby says he has a channel. Yeah, people have probably investigated your channel already. On the motherboard, there's a setting that does enable the program, knowing it from my ASUS laptop. Oh, okay. So it's a setting in BIOS. I gave some pictures in BIOS, so I don't know if it included that. I didn't read through all those screens that I took pictures of. BIOS, I meant, whether it's retraining Armory Crate or whatever, the settings in BIOS, it's obvious Big Beast build is not taking 4 days to boot. Boy, phew, that's a relief. I was worried it might be actually taking that long and I just have a time dilation problem going on. You know what a Doug I am. Lawn Dog, Doug, it sounds like that calculation for seconds is a bug. Typically stuff with computers, something gets messed up, and because it's rarely used and never gets discovered, you can call me Buns. Your screen is still flashing. Yeah, the screen flashes when I'm showing chat. I don't know any way around it. Everybody, I think, is experiencing that. Now, let's go look at that link that somebody provided. In fact, I know who provided it because I have that over. Do I have that here? Yeah, here. This was Brian Lightfoot. Here's a great link that explains last BIOS time, exactly what it is, how to improve it, if that extra second or two is really important to you. It's not so much a matter of improving it. I'm curious about why is it so wrong? And then it's on the Windows Club. This article is written by Ann and K at TWC. Anand Hans is the admin of the Windows Club, 10-year Microsoft VP, and this was written February 19th, 2021. Now, the first time I read through this, I couldn't find the date or who the author was because all this advertising mixed up in it. And yes, I have an ad blocker, but it's turned off at the moment because it gave me some problems with something else. I was a bit disturbed by how many grammar errors and spelling errors and logic errors are in this description. But basically, it's explaining that it is the amount of time taken by BIOS to initialize the hardware and hand it over to the boot process, finally kickstart Windows boot. So it's before Windows starts booting. It's just BIOS stuff he's saying here. But the thing that bothered me here when he talks about how to improve it, he talks about making changes to the boot drive. Well, no, by his description, this BIOS time is occurring before the computer starts booting from your drive. So swapping an SSD in place to replace a spinning drive, sounds to me that shouldn't make a difference, except that BIOS is doing a power on self-test of the drive, whatever your drive media is. So maybe there. But anyway, I'm not going to take the time to go through all of this. I'm going to speculate at what I think is going on, why this is wrong. I've done some programming in the past, and I have had occasion where I put some kind of a timer into my programming, usually for informing myself. I created a program once for blackjack to deal automated hands and play blackjacks by certain rules, to see if you play a certain strategy, can you get ahead of the game? And I had that thing running for like days at a time to see how it does. You can't beat the house in blackjack, is my conclusion, which everybody else already knew, but it was a fun programming exercise. So I had some timer written into the code. What I suspect is happening is that this BIOS time is certainly given to us by virtue. By the way, as a reminder, you Control-Shift-Escape to bring up Task Manager, Startup tab, and you find it over here. Last BIOS time. It must be the version of BIOS. So if I were to update the version of BIOS, I don't know if one's available right now. If somebody wants to go to do the research, you can. I'm not upset about it. I'm not concerned about it. I don't think it's going to fix my computer. Might fix that number. But I'm sure it's in the version of the BIOS programming. The BIOS firmware is software. Somebody wrote that program, told the hardware what to do. So each version of BIOS, each manufacturer of BIOS is responsible for providing that information to Windows. Windows is reaching into BIOS to grab that information somewhere. Now, was the BIOS version written with the foreknowledge of how Windows today pulls that information from BIOS? So it could be that the programming in BIOS with different versions of the BIOS, that maybe the method that they were storing that variable as far as what time increment occurs has changed over time. So maybe the case is that when the BIOS, the power on self-test, gets to a certain stage, it submits a number into a system variable, let's call it. Maybe it's called BIOS time. Maybe it's for some other purpose. Maybe the BIOS version, the firmware, is using this variable for some purpose other than providing the information for Windows. Maybe it's comparing the current time to the start time when the system first initialized that variable. Then the next time it gets to another checkpoint, maybe it adds that total number to the total BIOS time. So if there's a million things happening, a million measurements taken along the way, and it keeps adding the current value of time, measured as the time here minus the start time, and adding that to that variable, every time it adds that number again, the number is increasing exponentially, and it's no longer a valid number for last BIOS time. I'm thinking that the explanation is somewhere along those lines. Now, something that, let's see, there was something that this person mentioned in here that now is kind of escaping my my memory. Well, there's some comments in here that sounded like, here, I have an SSD for Windows, and it had a massive difference in boot time. So it sounds like a lot of this article is written by this person's deduction from their experiments, rather than actually finding out what does the Windows operating system code pull from BIOS to get this number. Okay, so there's a mix of Curious Doug and deductive reasoning Doug, I think, is involved here. Is time date zone accurate in BIOS? Picture shows Friday 6:37. Yeah, that picture was taken this morning. And yeah, it's accurate. I think it shows the date as well. So it shows this morning. Doug, given the size of that number, I suspect it could be milliseconds. I don't think so, because when everybody else, a bunch of other people checked their number yesterday, they found pretty believable numbers. And I've looked at that number otherwise. Now, is it possible that the firmware on this computer is storing that system variable, that's not the right word for it, is storing that value as milliseconds rather than seconds? Okay, so here I'm gonna hit a mute button when I say the wake word. Convert 500,000 milliseconds to minutes.
500,000 milliseconds is 8 minutes and 20 seconds.
8 minutes and 20 seconds. Hey, that's very believable. I think that might be right. Uh-oh, did I lose my highlight? I did. Let's see, somebody said milliseconds. So if I search for milli, here, Lon Dog. I think you might have nailed it there. The firmware on this computer is storing that as milliseconds rather than seconds. And Windows is pulling up the value of that and doesn't know that it's milliseconds. Interesting. Buns, the laptop I use has RTX 3060. Mostly what I experience ever since using is plugging it on HDMI screen would flatter a lot. What? How are we doing on time? I haven't even checked does Ken have a Premiere? I'm going to go look and see if Ken has a Premiere before I try to reread that line. Ken's in summer hospital getting surgery. The thought occurred to me this morning, what would happen if they wheeled him into the wrong room and he came out as a woman? Oh no, but this is a Friday, so I do, and there's nothing there for Ken, so I don't need to put a link in. 32 concurrent viewers. Then let's come back here. But the laptop, So Buns of Wisdom, you can call me Buns, but the laptop I use has RTX 3060. Mostly what I experience ever since using it is after plugging it on HDMI screen, the screen would flatter a lot. Yeah, I'm not following that. Long Dog Doug, I believe in an episode of Dave's Garage, he was talking about hard drive Dave's Garage, that's a good person. I would trust what he says far more than that Windows, whatever that website was, because he actually worked for Microsoft doing this level work. I believe in an episode, Dave's Garage, he was talking about hard drive calculations. Sometimes it depends upon where the program grabs that information to incorporate into the program that you see. I think he was trying to explain why Windows so often is trying to calculate how long a program is loading or installing, and what we see is often ridiculous. Yeah, I think that sounds on target. Brian, so if it's not really taking 4 days to boot, then I suspect a bug in the version of BIOS currently in use. Yes. Is it worth updating to a newer BIOS? No, probably not. And he says that. It's a computer. Turn it on and use it. Very good. That's a Doug kind of answer. Well, not all Dougs would go along with that, but yeah. Practicality. As Brian said, it's probably a bug. It's common. You see, I think he was trying to explain why. Yeah, I read that already. Josh, Doug, did you get my email about the hard drive? Yes, Josh, I did. And your email was in my list of things to say here is that Josh says, the hard drive that you asked for is in the mail, on its way to you, buddy. Please let me know when you get it. Happy to help you make more videos for the YouTube channel, your friend Josh. Oh, and by the way, on that point, let me also point out, let's see, who was it? Oh, yesterday, William Dawson is going to be sending me tomorrow, we're planning to reformat his drive, and I wanted to explain, because I heard it questioned yesterday, why is he taking that to me? And I think I had the conversation with him that, yes, I'd like to demonstrate that in a video. He could do it himself. I'm sure he's quite capable of doing it himself, but I'd like to have that on a video. I think that's a good technique. Not everybody who watches this channel knows how to do that. Oh, it's 9:30. Well, I don't have a show to send you off to. I do have a client needing me to go pick up a computer. They called me this morning having 2 computers with boot problems. One of them has a clicking drive. So we know what's going to happen there. I can't remember. Oh, that'll be here tomorrow. Yeah. So I got a clicking hard drive to deal with tomorrow during the live stream, I think. I can't remember exactly. There are many places to grab time intervals from the hardware. Doug BIOS was obviously written for one of the other Dougs, not for the curious Doug. Buns, but I love being on streams to people such as Carrie Holzman and Doug. I'm currently a game designer student, but I got accepted into Computer Engineer University. Awesome. Awesome. Looking forward to hearing some things from your experience. Ran Israel, you're right. Item 3 on his list is completely irrelevant. Yeah, item 3. Let's go look at what that was. Let's see. Why is my last BIOS time 0 or missing? Yeah, so he winds up saying that it's because your BIOS is in legacy mode rather than UEFI mode. I'm not sure if that's the number 3 that you're referring to as being irrelevant. Is there another list in here? Why is BIOS time 0 or missing? Oh, look at that, 2 item 3s. Look at this right here. There's 3, and then down here is 3. There are so many flaws in this article. Can you reduce or decrease last BIOS time if it is high in Windows 11 10? If you have the option, switch to UEFI mode. So just switch from legacy to UEFI. Not telling us what complications that's going to cause. Make sure to connect your drive, which has the operating system, to the first SATA port. No matter what, the UEFI will look at this place first. Okay, I buy that. If not for it, now here's the super. If not for everything, use SSD for Windows, period. I have an SSD for Windows, and it had made a massive difference in boot time. It took me a few times reading this to get this. So I think what he's saying here is use an SSD for Windows, if not for all of your data. If not for everything, he's referring to, if it's not your only drive in the computer, then at least use an SSD for the Windows operating system. That's just very, very awkwardly written. Set your operating system drive as the first boot drive, otherwise UEFI will spend time pulling suggested places of the boot order. They're just worded clunky. Disable anything which you do not use in UEFI or BIOS, as if those are 2 different places. Since it's all about hardware initialization, disabling is best. Now, this does make sense. Any of the hardware features in your UEFI BIOS, rather than letting the system automatically detect what you have, just disable those so it skips over those. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. If your motherboard supports it and you have SSD, then switch to AHCI mode from IDE mode. So if you, I don't know, is it possible to have an SSD in IDE mode? I'm not sure about that. There is another mode that you might have. It could be RAID. RAID could be, I think, an alternative. That I've had many major manufacturers will come default in RAID mode, even though there's only one drive in it. And even without having that other, what was that other memory that they use where they have kind of a cache in another memory place, but they'll put all of their computers on RAID, whether or not they have that other Intel something or other. I don't remember what it is. All right, let's get back to chat. So I'm not on a time pressure except for my client. Think says good morning. Hello, Think. Hope you're having an awesome day. I left you my like. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Think. I'd like to hear a little bit more about you, Think. Let's see, you got some more comments in here? Think. Buns of Wisdom, likewise. So that means also Carrie Holzman, I guess, is what that's reference to. Give me a little more conversation. Think, and then I'll consider that we got to know you a little bit. Doug, I asked my digital assistants the exact same question. I used 5 minutes as the interval to convert. Also, when you think about computer time and the way hardware works, you'd want it counted in milliseconds. Yeah, that seems like sense. Martin, Doug, if you could convert 1 kilogram of mass into pure energy, it would give you 19 kilotons of TNT, equal to the bomb on Hiroshima. 1 kilogram of mass into pure energy, it would give 19 kilotons of TNT. I don't think that's going to make Big Beast boot any faster. All right. Last BIOS time here is 0 seconds. So 0 seconds. Greg M. Oh, Greg M. I got a question for you. And I'm going to cover this real quick before I get to that. So Greg M. Do you meet any of this? Why is my last BIOS time 0 or missing? If you see it's 0, doesn't mean you have a super powerful PC which instantly turns on. This happens on PC running BIOS since last BIOS time seems to only work with UEFI. I suspect you have UEFI mode already. And this is where one of the things he says seems to work. And when I saw that, I said, you know what? This whole article is just this person's deductive reasoning. He doesn't quote any other authoritative source. So, yeah, I was kind of let down. There's one thing you can try if you have anything that skips post-check, try disabling it. You need UEFI with Windows installed on a GPT partition to get it to work. Frankly, it's not a prominent feature. I'm sure whenever you change hardware, you will have it. Now, he also said somewhere back in here that not all computers even have this. It was only given to some computers that would be a Windows update. Well, this was an article from 2021, so it's a while back. So Greg M., here's my question for you. Let me make sure I'm remembering this right. Yeah, Greg M. is a alpha tester for SpinRite. I went poking around trying to see how I could get into that alpha testing program for SpinRite. I could not find it. I found a whole bunch of stuff to read through. And I told Greg M., I don't want to have to be involved in a lot of reporting stuff. He says, no, it's no big deal. You just tell him stuff when you find it. But if it's that difficult to find, if there's this massive amount of stuff to read through, and if I can't include information about what I'm finding in my videos, then I lose interest. So I'm thinking that there's probably a non-disclosure agreement in there somewhere where I can't make videos showing the results that I'm getting with that. Do you know the answer to that, Greg M.? Another possibility is if it is okay to publish results rather than me getting to the alpha testing program, Greg M., could I send you drives for you to try with this alpha version of SpinRite? And could you record that and provide me the recordings? You don't have to come on camera unless you're willing to. You don't have to come on with your voice on my videos, but if you'd be willing to give us screenshots to actually try to recover drives that I send to you and report the results, are you allowed to do that? And would you be willing to do that? So that's my question to Greg M. My computer is non-UEFI. Oh, last BIOS is 0. So he's not UEFI. Okay, so he fits. And I'm not going to read through much more of that. So Greg M says, that is an issue with the alpha testing. It's confusing where to download stuff. There's a GitHub existence and there is a GRC news group. Yeah, I know they exist, but I don't think I can actually go there without being approved somehow. I don't think I can just go download the alpha version of the program. That doesn't make sense that would be allowed. So if you're willing to research that a little bit and see if we can put anything together, I'd love to do that. If you're not interested in checking that out, that's fine. You're not obligated to do anything because you're watching my videos. Lawn Dog says, well, Doug, what I know of Steve from all these years that he's been on Leo's program, he does talk about some of his testing people who send him drives that has certain type of failures. Yes, he does. I know he does that. But does he allow other people to publish what they're finding?
Your Glenn Agnes timer is done.
Alexa, add 10 minutes.
10 minutes added.
All right. He does not quote any source or test. Right, that article, yeah, he doesn't quote anything. So I did not lie. That is the issue with alpha testing, confusing where to download stuff. To see if SpinRite can repair them or need some further development. Steve uses the drives for research and verification of his program. I just do not know how this is done to get a hold of him. Well, I know that I can send messages to him through Twitter, and he kind of famously reads DMs, direct messaging through Twitter. And I have sent him messages before with no response. I'm sure he gets a lot of messages. So I sent imagine this. He gets a direct message through Twitter from my YouTube channel name asking if I can be on the alpha testing program and include in my videos my experiences with the alpha version of his program. What would be his reason for saying yes to that? I could make the case that I would be able to create more interest in this software with my channel that's got how many viewers right now? What? 30 people watching right now? Yeah, that's going to be, I don't bring much to the table that I don't see that happening. But if there's a non-disclosure agreement and Greg M would be willing to read through that or send me a copy, I'll read through it. I'm suspecting that I probably wouldn't be allowed, Greg M wouldn't be allowed to send information to me. I'm not going to read through all the chat messages. Got some of those hearts or whatever that was. If you own SpinRite, you can get out. I do own it. I bought it twice. I do have serial numbers. I do own it. You can get the alpha version. How? It's not enough to tell me I can get it. How do I get it? I don't see any place to get it. Greg says, I don't remember any NDA. If you can get, I spent some time, too much time, trying to find it. How do you get it? Interesting business dynamic you proposed to Steve. I think if the program was really ready to go, he would be comfortable using it as a preview. At least that is what I would be thinking. It would be great to have someone premiere his progress. That would probably be my approach for asking him permission. Well, the other side of it, he already has people hammering it. When will this be done? He's got tons and tons of people. I don't know how many people are in his alpha testing program. Maybe Greg M knows it. I know he's told that before. I'm pretty sure it's in the number in hundreds. Might be over 1,000. I don't know. There's a massive number of people involved in that program, I believe. Greg says he will email the page for download. You simply supply a SpinRite serial number. Okay, great. I'll do that. In my experience of going into the alpha program, I should be able to find if I'm allowed to talk about it. Some kind of yellow face over there on the right side. Okay, I will read the rest of chat after I sign off here, but it's time for me to go. Bye-bye. 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 Goodbye. Have a great day, everybody. Catch you later. What now? Nagger. Nagger. That's Siri.